I still remember the day I tore my family apart with my obsession. It was the day I reported a fellow caver, David, for a fatal slip into the abyss. A slip I knew could have been avoided had he paid attention. Instead of remorse, I found myself ostracized. "You're the one who's insane," my father shouted, his face a twisted mask of fury and disbelief. "You'll ruin us all, obsessing over the supernatural like this." My mother stood pale and trembling behind him, and my sister's laughter rang out, a mocking cackle that clawed at my sanity. Years passed. I became something other than a disgraced cave explorer. I became an expert in paranormal speleology, the very realm they mocked. And it was here where I unearthed the darkest truths. Months turned into years, and the tales I gathered were whispered in awed tones throughout the scientific community. I was no longer the laughingstock of the caving community. Instead, I was heralded as an oracle of the shadows. The caves I explored had secrets that twisted reality, and I had survived them. Emerged from the other side cloaked not in disgrace but in a cloak of shadows, secrets, and a chilling recognition that no one else dared to confront. And now, here I was, standing on the threshold of my family home, heart thumping like the drumming echoes of a cave's heartbeat. The sun dipped low, casting lurid shadows that crept across the yard, as if even the earth was unsure of what would transpire within those walls. I had come to confront them not out of hate, but out of a dreadful sense of urgency. They needed to understand the truths I'd uncovered, the darkness I'd survived. "Come on in, we're waiting," my sister sneered from the doorway. The disdain in her voice was as familiar as my own shadow, but I refused to let it pierce my resolve. I stepped inside, the air thick with the scent of memories and a lingering chill that prickled at my skin. They gathered in the living room, their faces a mix of curiosity and disbelief, each one echoing the doubts that had chased me for so long. "We heard you've been up to interesting things," my father said, eyes narrowing as if to dissect me. "The media has been buzzing, but they always love a good spectacle, don't they?" "Spectacle?" I echoed, struggling to hold back the waves of anger that threatened to drown me. "What I have seen goes beyond spectacle. It's truth, truth that lurks in the shadows, waiting to consume the unworthy." As I spoke, the room seemed to descend into an unnatural stillness, an intangible crackle in the air that shifted like the very fabric of reality. I reached into my bag, pulling out the tools I'd collected, the artifacts of my nights in cursed caves, shards of stone, fragments of whispers, and something else, a vial containing the very essence of dark energy, swirled like ink in water. Their laughter died down, replaced by an unsettling tension. "You've lost your mind," my mother whispered, eyes wide. "You don't need to drag us into your madness." But I wasn't there to drag them in. I was there to show them. I uncorked the vial, and a cold draft sliced through the room. Shadows danced along the walls, stretching and contorting into grotesque forms. The air thickened, vibrating with a chilling resonance that sent a ripple of dread through all of us. "What are you doing?" my sister gasped, a flicker of fear sparking in her eyes. "Showing you what's real," I said softly, voice trembling as I faced them, my heart pounding at the commune of memories, pain, and vindication. The shadows twisted, a hungry tide lapping at the edges of reality, and the darkness coalesced, taking shape, a grotesque figure emanating from the depths of my essence. There it stood, a wretched echo of cavers lost to the caves, faces hollow, and mouths stretching wide with silent screams. Whispers filled the room, taunting, begging, and accusing. They were the unworthy, the explorers who had fallen to their covetous desires. The specters reached for them, fingers elongated and twisted. and I found myself torn between dread and a dreadful satisfaction. This was the consequence of their ridicule, the weight of their disbelief made manifest. They had mocked a truth that now stood before them, an unparalleled horror born from their own ignorance. "I'm free," I whispered, a bittersweet smile curling at my lips. "And you're about to learn that which you refuse to acknowledge." But I hadn't come to torment them. I had come to liberate them from their own hubris. The shadows surrounded them, swallowing their screams. Yet as they were consumed, I felt a piece of my own heart shatter. Perhaps I wasn't vindicated. Perhaps I was still lost within the same darkness. When the darkness receded, I was left standing alone in a room draped in silence. Their laughter had been silenced, their scorn extinguished. I was no longer a disgrace, but a monument to their folly, a warning etched in shadow. As I stepped back out into the world, I looked back at the home that had both nurtured and trapped me. The shadows now whispered only to me, carrying the echoes of lost explorers. I was no longer an outcast, but a vessel of truths far beyond their comprehension, a messenger of the shadows, wandering into the dark, forever bound by what they had refused to see.